Do you love the New York Giants? Because if so, and you're not subscribed to New York Giants Now by Chat Sports, what are you doing? We're pumping out content almost daily, and as soon as we reach 1,000 subscribers, we'll be able to pump out videos every single day on the latest news, rumors, trade rumors, game recaps once the 2021 NFL season gets here. So subscribe to New York Giants Now so we can make more videos, and you guys can watch more videos on your beloved New York Giants. You are watching New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am Marshall Green, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the New York Giants signal caller, Daniel Jones. Clutch Points recently released an article highlighting some of their top 10 underrated sleepers for the 2021 NFL season, and Daniel Jones came in ranked 6th overall. Mike Greenberg of ESPN, he was on The Jump earlier this week and on his Greeny show, and he proposed that Daniel Jones will break out in the 2021 NFL season, and this is a huge upcoming year for Daniel Jones. He's entering his 3rd season as the Giants signal caller, and the time is now. The Giants built around Jones to win now, and it's just time for him to show that he's able to live up to that first-round draft stock. Clutch Points went on to further expand their point about Daniel Jones and said, Daniel Jones could be in for a huge year. The New York Giants made sure to sign Kenny Golladay, giving Jones a big-bodied receiver who should make life easier for the Giants as a whole. Jones is also a threat with his legs, making him a dual-threat quarterback the Giants need to possibly win the NFC East. This is the year for Jones to prove he can be a franchise quarterback in the NFL. If we just go back and take a look at Daniel Jones' stats last year, they were underwhelming. He dealt with a severe hamstring injury, but he did have some flashes of greatness. I mean, when you look at these numbers, it just doesn't pop off the screen like that. But, 11 TDs, 10 interceptions. He really struggled to just be productive as the Giants starting quarterback. But one thing that I love that Daniel Jones did in his 2nd year as the Giants quarterback, he added his legs into the equation and became more of a dual threat. Over 400 yards rushing. Everyone knows about the crazy breakaway run against the Eagles where he tripped on the 5-yard line. The Giants did go on to score that drive, so who really cares? But he really just opened up the floodgates and the play calling for Jason Garrett by showing that he can move in the pocket and be a productive running type of quarterback for the Giants. And I have a question for you guys. Do you think Daniel Jones will break out this year in his 3rd year as the Giants quarterback? This is a critical year for Jones. They surrounded him with talent in Kenny Golladay. They drafted a receiver in the 1st round in Kadarius Toney. And the time is now for Daniel Jones to break out, or the Giants could move on from him next year. So if you think he will go and break out in the 2021 NFL season, go down in the comments and type Y for yes. If you're just not sold on Danny Dimes and you're like, the Giants need to restart and get a new quarterback calling the signals, go down in the comments and type N for no. We talked earlier about how Mike Greenberg predicted that Daniel Jones will break out in the 2020 NFL season, and he went on to say this when asked about who his breakout candidate would be. How about Daniel Jones? How about Danny Dimes? Let's think for just a minute about that situation. Set up to succeed? I think so. They have moved heaven and earth to make this thing work this year. As they do every year, they've addressed their offensive line. It needs to get better at some point. They get Saquon Barkley back. They bring in Kenny Golladay, who is your tall, physical, go-up-and-get-it 50-50 ball receiver. And the time is now for Daniel Jones. It's his 3rd year in the NFL as a starting quarterback for the Giants, and the Giants have 2 first-round draft picks coming up in the 2022 NFL draft. So if he struggles this year and has another pedestrian TD to interception ratio and the Giants fail to make the playoffs, they could move off of Daniel Jones and try to trade up in the draft with that draft ammunition to find his replacement. But I just don't think that's going to happen. I think Daniel Jones is going to live up to the hype, and in large part because of who he is surrounded with on this Giants offense. A true number 1 receiver in Kenny Golladay. A guy that's always open even when he's covered because he's, over the past couple of years, he's had one of the best contested catch rates in the NFL. Kadarius Toney in the slot, he's a home run hitting machine. Just get in the ball, get out of the way, and watch him work. Then on the other side, Sterling Shepard, a proven just a proven pro wide receiver that is good underneath in the slot and can bounce outside and be productive. Then you have a guy like Saquon Barkley coming back from a torn ACL, and who knows how productive he'll be. He could be a guy that put the Giants' offense on his back, or he could struggle to get his legs back from a crucial ACL tear. And then you have a guy like Evan Ingram, who's really struggled, but he's always just had that potential of how good can this guy be? He's an electric, athletic playmaking tight end who Jason Garrett needs to find a way to include on this offense. Daniel Jones, as his career, he was better than, broadcasted in his first year. 24 TDs, 12 interceptions. For a rookie that just got bashed for being taken in the first round, is better than a lot of people expected. But then you go to this year, this most past recent season, 11 TDs, 10 interceptions. It needs to improve. One thing I did like about the jump Jones made between his first and second season, he cut down on the fumbles by 7. He went from 18 to 11. Yeah, it's still a lot of fumbles, but that shows growth, and he did improve in that category. So just for you guys, I have another question. Do you believe in Daniel Jones? Danny Dimes, do you think he can be a productive starting quarterback in the NFL? If you think he can, go down in the comments to type 1 for yes. If you think, I don't know, the guy might be a stiff, he came from Duke, that's a basketball school, go down in the comments and type 2 for no. Are you subscribed to New York Giants Now by Chat Sports? Because when I went and looked at the analytics, a lot of people that are watching our videos aren't even subscribed, and that's unacceptable. I need you guys to subscribe because I need to get this channel to 1,000 subscribers ASAP. The sooner we get there, and once we do get there, we'll be able to make daily content around the New York Giants. So subscribe to New York Giants Now for more New York Giants videos. CBS Sports ranked every NFL coach entering the 2021 NFL season, and Joe Judge came in ranked at 26th. Judge is entering his second year as the New York Giants head coach, and he needs to just continue what he's done. This team, they made dramatic leaps between last year with Pat Shurmur and this most recent year with Joe Judge. The difference in this team, if you just watched, was extremely it just showed. This team was a different team on the offensive side of the ball, the defensive side of the ball, and they did the little things at a much better rate. CBS Sports went on to talk in a further depth about Joe Judge being ranked in the 26th spot, and they said sometimes his no-nonsense tough guy act borders on silliness, like when he condemned the Eagles for refusing to get his own team into the playoffs. But the disciplinary spunk had the G-men flashing surprise confidence throughout 2020. The question is whether he's got what it takes to shepherd offensive growth, either with Daniel Jones at QB or someone else. This is a big upcoming year for Joe Judge as the Giants head coach, and I think the Giants will show that this guy is the right guy for the job. Sure, when he first got hired, he had a really intense press conference, but he said some things I liked. That team last year, the New York Giants, they embodied what New York Giants football is all about, and they embodied what New York is all about. Sure, did he have coaches running laps? Yeah, I'm not sure how that went with his staff, and it's kind of elementary like CBS Sports alluded to, but I just really think this is the guy for the job. He's tough, he's blue-collar guy, and he embodies what the New York Giants football culture is all about. If you agree with CBS Sports' ranking of Joe Judge as a bottom 7 NFL coach, go down in the comments and type A for agree. If you're like, man, I'm all in on Joe Judge, I think this guy can get the Giants back to where they need to be, go down in the comments and type D for disagree. When we take a look at the complete NFC East and where each coach was ranked on CBS Sports list, it was pretty embarrassing. I mean, all 4 coaches were ranked in the bottom half of the league. Ron Rivera, 17th. Mike McCarthy, number 23. Mike McCarthy even has the best odds to be the first coach fired. Joe Judge, obviously, number 26 overall, and Nick Sirianni came in right behind him at 27. This division was really lackluster last year, but I think we'll see a change in the tide, and this division will return to the prominence of what the NFC East is all about. Daniel Jones recently went on Sirius Radio, and he talked about Joe Judge and was asked what it's like to play for Joe Judge. He said, he's a great leader. Every time he's up front of the team, everyone's listening. Everyone's straight up and locked into what he's saying. I think he certainly has the respect of the team and the guys, and that's because how well he knows the game across the board. You know, offense, defense, special teams, He just knows football, and guys respect that. Joe Judge, he is the guy for the New York Giants. And with the past two head coaches and Pat Shurmur and Ben McAdoo, they were too soft. They were like daycare sitters. They let the Giants just run around and do everything that they wanted to with no repercussion. There was no disciplinary action ever displayed by those two guys, and the Giants, they went back to the well. Joe Judge is a guy that kind of reminds me of Tom Coughlin, a hard-nosed guy that's going to get the best out of his players and hold everybody accountable. If you go and look at 2019 versus 2020 and the differences between the Giants, yeah, they don't seem that big. I mean, they only won one more game than they did, 5-11 in 2019 with Shurmur and 6-10 with Judge. But there was some things that absolutely stood out. The turnover differential is number one to me. Joe Judge, he preaches mechanics and just playing the game the right way. And for the Giants to go from a negative 17 turnover differential to an even turnover differential with a guy at quarterback that will fumble the ball anytime he gets hit from behind is huge. The Giants on defense, points against, they were 30th in the league with Pat Shurmur and ranked 9th overall with the Giants. And that is a huge credit to Patrick Graham. But I always say, as a head coach, you're only as good as the staff you hire. And yeah, neither team made the playoffs in 2019 or 2020. But the Giants, they didn't have Saquon Barkley toting the rock in 2020. And they were an Eagles win away in Week 17 of cracking a playoff spot. Are you confident in Joe Judge? Do you think he can get this Giants team back to contending for Super Bowls? Go down in the comments and scale it on a scale of 1 to 10. If you're like, man, I'm all in on Joe Judge, I think he's going to get us back to the promised land, rank it a 10. If you're like, this guy is not it, he's a stiff, he's someone that I just can't trust, he doesn't coach offense or defense, I mean, he's a special teams coach, go down in the comments and type 1.